Right there. That's just. I'm sorry. Say it one more time.
No, I just wanted you to explain exactly what you guys are going through right now because
on, babe?
You're arriving at the protest.
Yeah. Okay. So look at this. Look at this. It looks like a war zone. Do y'all see that?
Yes, we see it. Yeah, we
It
can.
looks like a war zone. It looks like a war zone. And honestly, this is not the first time we've experienced this in Minnesota. The day has been so triggering. I was at the 18-day occupation of the 4th precinct. I don't know if you all know about Jamar Clark when he was murdered. And I was just a second-year law school student at the time. But yeah, it's crazy out here. I probably need to get in the midst of this sooner than later. So I'm sorry. I'm going to try to answer as many more questions as I can before I have to run.
Okay. So what exactly do you want to accomplish today? What are your objectives to try to accomplish today in terms of rallying, in terms of getting the word out to people about what they should be doing?
Okay, so when we woke up this morning, we know we wanted the police officers fired. That has been done, right? So we're one step in the right direction. We want to urge prosecution of these officers. That's one of the biggest things. Bringing awareness. There were thousands of people that came out today, not hundreds, but thousands. Like there were blocks and blocks and blocks. Like there are at least hundreds of people out here, and there are also still hundreds of people at the Cub Food. But there have been like a lot of people out here today, and I think it's because a lot of people are outraged, and it's time for us to band together and to get organized because this is not just a civil rights issue, but this is a human rights issue, and Black lives are not mattering right now in America, and we need them to.
Exactly. No, exactly. And you referenced the. Can you hear me, Leslie? You went. Yeah, you're on mute. You have to forgive us here. Audience members at Rolling Out Live. We're at the protest site in Minneapolis, where the police reportedly have been fired for killing or allegedly killing an unarmed and handcuffed Black man while he was in the prone position. And one of them had his knee in his neck until he did
and
not.
In that initial video, they only showed the one officer with his knee on his neck. But in other images, you can see where there were two other officers on his pelvic and on his back. And that's why all four of them ended up getting fired.
Wow. So that's news. That's news because we did not know that. We just saw the last.
I can send that image to you all as well.
Please
once I get out of this
information. Leslie, for all those who want to get involved.
Did y'all hear that?
Yeah.
That tear gas. They're firing it at the crowd. They're firing it at the
live crowd. From Minneapolis, the police.
Okay, I gotta go, y'all. I'm sorry. I gotta go, but I can call y'all back if y'all will be on here. But I gotta go find out some things. I'm sorry, y'all.
Okay.
Okay, thanks so much.
Leslie Redmond, the youngest NAACP president from Minneapolis. Thank you, Leslie.
Wow, that was kind of intense. And we found out some new information that other people took part in incapacitating this unarmed and handcuffed Black man who did not need to have anybody any more weight on him, but yet they put their knee and was on his pelvic. The young man who died, his name is George Floyd. And according to the witnesses and the people who viewed the video or who were screaming in the video while it was going live, is that the knee to the neck killed George Floyd, and that they only officially announced that he was killed or that he died at the hospital. But according to the people who were on the scene, he was dead. His body went limp from being suffocated, and his body went limp, and he stopped moving and stopped breathing while he was on the ground with the police officer with his knee in his neck. And even after he died, it has been reported that the officer refused to remove his knee until the paramedics got there. So this is another case. This is like, they're calling it, they're already putting a hashtag, hashtag Eric Jr. Dang, I can't believe it.
I think, Terry, what are your thoughts? Here's a young woman, 25, on the front line of this civil rights, human rights issue?
Yes, but before I answer that, just want to get this straight that the hashtag was for Eric Garner. They're calling him Eric Garner Jr. because we know that that was the man that was choked to death by an illegal chokehold in the Staten Island Borough of New York City in 2014. And so they're saying that this is another case of snuffing out a life and suffocating him unnecessarily when he's been incapacitated. But what do I feel about the young activist? I think that's fantastic. I think that she's definitely on a mission, and she's going to change lives. She's going to change the situation there as the youngest leader of the NAACP, Ms. Redmond, who already has her Juris Doctorate degree or Doctorate of Jurisprudence, which is a law degree, and she already has a master's degree. So this is a woman about her business. She doesn't have much time to play.
Right. She's the president of the NAACP in Minneapolis.
Right, the NAACP in Minneapolis, and she had just acquired her law degree, and she has a master's degree. So this sounds like a woman who is about her business.
And passed the bar.
And passed the bar. So she is about her business. And so yeah, so it's so I'm just very impressed, and I do believe that she is going to get answers. She said she was on the front lines, and that she was there this morning in person when the leaders of the FBI, local police, and state police held a conference to explain the process. Of course, as is their nature, the FBI does not reveal the nature or the contents of their investigation, nor how much it has progressed until it has been completed. But we know that there are 3 investigations going on simultaneously against these 4 officers. So they have not just been fired. It is being hinted that charges are coming, criminal charges, felonies against these officers. So we don't know exactly what charges it's going to be.
Well, she said some very kind things about the feeling she had about the chief and the fact that this chief was very decisive on the firing, and she didn't believe that it would have happened had it not been for this chief to be African American.
Yeah, it reminds me of the situation that things won't change. And this is what I was talking about for the last weekend in terms of getting people in positions of power who have decision-making powers to be able to make these kind of decisions to either protect or advance our causes. And this is one example. Another example is that the prison industrial complex that had been going on and had incapacitated and had decimated the Black community for 20 years. It took a Black man in the White House and a Black man at the head of the Department of Justice to change that criminal law from 100 to 1 in terms of powder cocaine and crack cocaine sentencing guidelines, and change it down to 8 to 1. It took a Black man, Barack Obama, and a Black Attorney General, Eric Holder, to change that. And that's why I keep advocating for Black people to get into the police department, get into becoming an elected office, become lawyers, so you can change the game. The game cannot be changed from the outside. It has to be changed from within. And these are 2 examples, powerful examples of Black men, Black brilliance, getting in and changing the game, because what she said, Ms. Redmond said it, she said it would not have happened so quickly and decisively had it been a white police chief. It took a Black police chief to go ahead and make that decision resolutely and immediately.
Right, but we have the motto of the Minneapolis police is protect with courage, to serve with compassion. Do you think that George Floyd received any passion, Terry?
He was treated lower than an animal. Animals are treated better than what he was treated today. And for the crime that he committed, then that means that there should be a lot of dead people who have been convicted of similar crimes within the White House and within the White House administration who have been convicted of white collar crimes. That's what he was being investigated for. That's why the police were called to that situation, because of a white collar crime. And yet he's dead. And they handcuffed him, got him on the ground. And so he was incapacitated. There's nothing that he could do, but they all 3 put the maximum weight on his body until it broke. until it broke. And so, no, he wasn't even treated like an animal because animals are treated better than what Mr. Floyd was treated, was George Floyd. No, he got no, it was inhumane, it was brutal. And if it had been an animal, those police officers not only would have been fired, they probably would be charged today. So no, he got no compassion, none.
So, in the absence of passion, we literally have 800 police officers in Minneapolis, four that are fired. How many bad apples would you speculate still exist within? And what is the police chief up against those who cannot be
Oh, he,
seen, but actually harbor some of the feelings of the four that were there that watched this?
yeah, shout out to Minneapolis Police Chief, Mr. Arredondo. I believe his first name is Madaria Arredondo. Shout out to him. He's the first African American police chief, at least in this era, if not ever. But we'll confirm that. But shout out to him and what he's faced against. When you're the first, I mean, those who shake the tree don't always get the fruit. So don't expect this police chief to be treated kindly. Don't expect him to face a lot of adversity and pushback from the populace in the Twin City area because he's going to enact or try to enact some things that have never been enacted before, which is actual police protection for all of his citizens.